The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 10th year of broadcasting each week, we continue talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we're going to share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. And today we're going to start off the show talking with a couple of folks from Feed My Sheep. We're going to talk with Joyce Kawakami, who's the Executive Director, and the Operations Director, Scott Hopkins. Hi, how are you?
I started to say good morning, but it's...
we just crossed that line.
So hello, Susie.
So it's lunchtime. Appropriate to be talking about food, or is that going to hurt?
It will just make us a little more hungry.
There you go. There you go. We just go running out the door and go have lunch. Feed My Sheep has been around, going on 20 years?
This is our 20th year. It's not since we had the name. We gave it a name a couple years after it started, simply because we finally figured out, this is what we do. But in 1999, started getting food to kids from the trunk of my car, me and my 3 kids, and that was the beginning of what has become Feed My Sheep.
Wow.
In Maui, yeah.
With how many containers sitting over there on the lot?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know.
How many pounds of food and produce and...
We do well over 500,000 pounds of fresh produce a year. As far as the poundage of the canned goods, got to be at least that much or more. So over 1 million pounds of food annually. It's just a lot of food.
That would have been a lot of wear and tear on your car.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I kept breaking the trunk of my car when we first started. Then I ended up with a pickup truck that we still have. It's a Feed My Sheep truck
really?
now. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it? It's amazing. I love the stories of how different agencies got started. You know what happened, or whether it was a personal dynamic or just a need that they saw and wanted to fill it.
Yeah.
And I think your approach is a lot of people try to say you do the same thing as a food bank does, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. We directly serve those in the community, and the food bank is a warehousing for other organizations that serve the community. So that's pretty much the difference. Apples and oranges,
Gotcha.
Basically. Yeah.
And keeping it in the foods.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, did you have something you wanted to add to that? We can't hear you shaking your head.
Oh, sorry.
You need to talk to us.
I think Joyce covered the differences really well. Learning radio, one step at a time.
Gotcha.
He's kind of shy, so you're going to have to draw it out of him.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what does the operations director do?
Well, what needs to be done, in short? We have a very broad-ranging group of things that need to happen, from making sure the bathroom's clean all the way up to making sure that the bills are paid, trucks run, volunteers are there. And so my priority from day to day is to make sure that the food's coming in, that my coworkers have what they need to get everything accomplished, and that the resources are in the places they should be when we expect them to be.
That sounds fairly substantial.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about 500,000 pounds of food.
Yeah.
There's a lot of running. There's a lot of sweating in the sun.
Yeah, I'll bet. So now, you talked about getting the food there. Where does the food come from?
Well, we do have a grant from the county that helps us get some of the building blocks, like our protein items, our canned goods. And then we bring that alongside food that we glean, which that's a word that can seem a little fancy, but the idea is we're going to go where people have food that they can't use, whether it's on their trees or if it's in their stores, and we'll bring it back to our lot, sort it out, and then apportion it for the different distributions that we're going to be doing that week, so that we can have a certain number of items of variety. Like maybe we'll have salads, we'll have tomatoes, potatoes, and we'll make sure that we get enough for everybody to have a little bit of that.
I see. So you're looking for a well-rounded supply of food so
Yeah.
that the families or the individuals who are picking up food or getting it delivered to them are getting well-balanced meals.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
There you go.
Yeah, and we've seen a substantial difference in their lives because of getting them healthy, well-balanced food, especially in the produce. We started concentrating on produce back in 2012. It was hard to get that started, but now it's well established and they get a lot of fresh, good produce to eat. And
I think I remember when you first started talking about we'll come and clean if your tree's got limes or oranges or whatever on it,
Yeah.
and you can't pick them, we'll come and pick them.
yeah, or set them on the road, we'll pick them up, you know.
Yeah.
If we've got, actually, we tried starting routes in areas to try to be in certain areas, but mostly it comes from Haiku, which is where a lot of the produce comes from. And then some in Kula, and mostly all up country, basically.
Yeah, I'd say right now we have a dozen households that will call us whenever they have something. So it might be one thing a week, but we'll get a call from them, on a regular basis, and they have us come and make sure that it's not getting wasted.
Right. What is a quantity that would be worth picking up?
Any.
Any? Like a 5-pound bag of potatoes?
Yeah, no, we would
or
come
10
for.
pounds,
Yeah,
or-
we've come for as little as 5 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, if someone wants to give, that's their desire to help their
Right.
community, and we're not just serving the people in need. We're serving the person who wants to give too. I mean,
Right.
it's really tough when you have an idea like, gee, I want to help, but I don't know how, and we want to be that stepping stone for them.
Yeah, and it's really helpful if they bring it to us too.
Right.
You know? So that really makes a nice difference when they deliver it
Right.
to our base yard.
Well, and you've got a nice central location right there across from the Punene post office, right?
Yeah, temporarily.
But you're getting ready to move.
Yeah, just down the road a little ways though, not too far.
Okay. Which direction?
Well, you know where Friends of the Library is.
Oh, yeah, back behind the
We're not
school.
going to be behind where they are, but if you head in that direction, rather than turning left towards Friends of the Library, you just go straight into that driveway. There's an old building there that was originally the Rosa Sharon Church way back in the 70s and before that, and it became the HCNS Pump and Power. So when HCNS started closing up operations, they offered that space to us, and we have a total of 8 acres, 2 buildings, and I'm going to have an office. It's not in a truck that rocks in the wind. And a nice big warehouse space and enough land that we can farm, which is our dream, to start having a
Interesting.
sustainable source of food. We don't know how we're going to make that happen, but we are pretty sure we can, because we've done a lot of things we never knew how we were going to make happen.
Just give me the challenge.
Yeah.
So okay, so if you're going back like you're going past the mill.
Correct.
You go past the mill, you come to the T in the road.
Just go straight.
You go straight through. Okay.
Okay, there's a driveway there. Now you'll see.
Yeah.
Now we have a barrel there
Yeah,
with our
right.
sign on it so
Oh,
people
yeah.
can see.
Okay.
So just go straight into there. It was always been there, but nobody knew for, how many, 40 years, 30 years
Yeah.
that there was something back there?
Wasn't that back where the fairgrounds was at one time or something? Or am I in the wrong road?
Yeah, no, I don't
No,
believe
not
so.
that.
No,
Okay.
that was an old church for
Oh, okay.
many years, and then became the Pump
Interesting.
and Power for HCNS.
Because there's another church right in front of that before you get to the T in the road.
Yeah. That's the old Congregational Church.
Oh,
That
okay.
one, if you look close, there's a lot of holes in it.
Ah,
Somebody tries to move that or move in,
it's gone.
it's gone. It's an
It's
old
gonna
wooden
fall.
building. This is
Yeah.
a hollow tile. So
Gotcha.
perfect
How
for us.
cool.
Yeah, we're really.
Are you gonna have to do a lot of work to it, or
We've
besides
done a
clean it
lot
up?
of work.
Oh, you have.
Yeah,
You've
we've
been
had.
doing that.
It's been work. You know us. We have no money, so we work with a lot of volunteers,
Right.
basically, and so it's taken about a year. We had to change out all the termite eaten poles and windows, and a lot of work had to be done. Drywalled the office space because it was thin, and just a lot of different things. But we're about ready. There's still work to do, but once we move in, we can continue with the rest of the work. But at least it's
Right.
more usable for us now.
So if somebody wanted to come see you about either delivering food or picking up food, what days, hours, what are you going to be having? Or what do you have now?
The best days to reach us currently are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 to 4. We have other times that we're there, but that's the time I can guarantee someone's in the office and can help you.
I see. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah, we
7
have
to 4.
distribution, so
Yeah, so you're out on the road.
Yeah, so a small staff, you don't have the option of keeping people back at the base yard. Yeah,
Tell me
too
about it.
Yeah.
That's what we've got. One out with a sick kid and one on vacation, and
Oh my
another one is running errands, and it's like, okay, who's going to be here from? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the life we've chosen, right?
I
Sissy?
guess so. I guess so. Yeah.
Or it chose us, and we decided to say, okay.
Stay with it. Go for it.
Yeah.
So, when you are talking about, we were talking about your operations director job. What brought you to Feed My Sheep? What?
I moved out of Michigan with the intention of doing something to help people in need. I didn't know what. And I came here as kind of a break period in between, maybe going from my home to someplace I'd never been before. But it turned from a vacation into the place I knew I needed to stay. And it didn't take long before I heard Joyce at our church sharing exactly what Feed My Sheep is, and it just rung. It was exactly what I was looking for. I've been praying for that for a long time.
Wow.
And so when the opportunity came up, finally, the woman who's not my wife, Brooke, she was volunteering at the time, and Joyce out of nowhere asked Brooke if she was knew anyone who could do office work, and that's what I thought I was signing up for. But as I arrived and saw what was, the vision and what was happening, and I got a chance to do some very personal stuff with some of our friends and minister to them in a great way, and I knew it was a good place to be. And as time went on, I was like, no, actually, this is the place to be. I can't see myself going anywhere else.
Let me clarify, friends. We do not have clients. We have friends.
I know. I love that. You got that on your website. That's that says it all right there. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
They so you knew that no going back to Michigan.
Yeah, sadly. Now my mom's here. She lives in her backyard,
Oh,
so
really?
I don't have to.
Hey, very good. That worked out well. Sometimes things happen that way, don't they?
Yeah, it's a calling. You
Yeah.
know, it really is a calling. People who aren't called to work with us, they never survive. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding work, but it's hard work because I think each and every one of us does the work of 2 or 3 people.
Right.
If we had a staff of 10, it might be about right.
You've grown to that size.
But we don't. We have a staff of 3.
Well, what's amazing, though, is that the volunteers make up for it.
Yeah.
We have people who step
Right.
in, and they ask us what we need, and when we tell them, they have the calling in a different way. And so we're able to do this because, like last year, we probably had 400 volunteers, whether they came once on vacation or they came every week.
Yeah.
And they are the backbone. So we're here to support them, too.
Interesting. Now, and when you go out, you do distribution around the island on different days of the week. Are there volunteers that will serve just right there that day,
Yes.
Yeah.
kind of thing? I see.
Oh, we
okay.
couldn't do it without them. I mean,
Yeah.
we're busy, right? Especially Kahului, and 1 or 2 staff people could never pass out that
Oh,
much
really?
food, right? So we give them a minimum of 10 pounds, but there's usually 10 to 20 pounds per person.
Yeah.
So we're factoring in a half a pound for a meal a week. So if we give them 10 pounds, they can have at least 20 meals for the week.
So
But we give them about
Yeah.
closer to 20 because of the produce. It's hard to track all of that. But if there was only 2 of us giving that much to, say, 120 families, we're talking, not just people.
Right.
Oh, you
Well-
should dig in my grave yesterday.
Gotcha.
Well, I was going to point out, too, that the volunteers don't just make it work, but they make it so it's personal. If we're going to have 120, 160 people come through the line, and if all we did was have 2, 3 volunteers, just like, hey, this is yours, then there wouldn't be that personal touch, but we're able to offer a listening ear to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And every volunteer has a different background, so sometimes just out of nowhere they connect with this one face.
Right.
So we can move everybody else through nice and quickly and efficiently, but then they've got 5, 10 minutes with that person if they need it, so that they can connect. And then the person who is in need or is homeless has someone who they know cares about them.
Interesting. That works well. Now, the people that you talk about 10 pounds, is that like a family of 4 comes in?
40
Is that-
pounds minimum.
So it's 10 pounds per person.
Yeah.
And what typically would make, do they get a choice of what's out there to what they would like to have, or do you just decide?
We have to decide because otherwise we can't be a market because there's no way we're there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we buy good quality items with the money we get from the grants and donations, and we give them protein and carbohydrates for that. And then the produce, lots of different types of produce, fruits, vegetables, all that. So
Okay.
so if you were to, take the food you have, I used to test it too. His wife, who used to be a volunteer, then staff member with us for a while, she took it home with her to make sure that it was enough. And she was able, we won't feed anybody's obesity, but we definitely give them enough to make sure that they could get through if they had to.
So if it's 10 pounds per person then, and you're looking at a half a pound per day?
Per meal.
Or per meal. Okay.
That's 20. We're factoring 20 meals.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Hello, not half. It's double.
Yeah.
If it's a half. Okay. I think Gary's giving me the high sign. It's time for us to be quiet and let the commercial speak for itself.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's happening in their world. And today we started the show talking with Joyce Kawakami and Scott Hopkins of Feed My Sheep Maui, talking about how much food moves through their program. Now, do people have to qualify?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's been the hardest part for us, is because, like it or not, there are those who just, if it's free, they're going to try to get it even. So yeah, we financially qualify them. We've gotten to the place now where we check everybody's bank statements, because then they can tell you whatever they want. But, there's only a few, and you get to the percentages. It's really very few, but there's at least this way we can be assured it's going to the people who need it.
Right.
So, and another thing people don't realize is we don't just serve homeless. We serve the impoverished, people who really cannot make ends meet. Or we have less than 20%. I think it's closer to 17% of those who are homeless that come to us.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, there's a lot of people on Maui. They just need that extra boost, that extra help, right? So,
yeah, I know there's a lot of talk that people who are on, what is it, SNAP, the food
stamp
stamp program now, when they run out of that during the month, it's like there's no food.
Right, but they can come to us.
They can come see you.
If they qualify for SNAP, they qualify to come to us. So they can come, and we really work on making it a friendly, safe place for them. And then we have lots of locations, so pretty much in their neighborhood they can come. Right. So.
Right. So now we talked briefly about those locations, and I think you said at one point something about an hour and a half to do things, and that's really how much time you spend in each of these neighborhoods.
Well, yeah, we set up. We rush to set up. We get everything ready at our base yard. We do not do any services at our base yard. That was a promise we made to HCNS way back in the beginning, because they were a little concerned. Well, we have encampments living around here. I said, no, we're mobile.
Right.
And that makes it's actually perfect, because we go in, we set up, and then we pack up and we're gone. Nobody's going to camp around us, right? So depending on the distribution, like Kihei, we get there, it starts at 10:30, so we're there probably around 9:30 starting the setup. Our volunteers will show up at 10. So at 10:30 to 12 o'clock noon, we set up there. Kahului is an hour longer, so it's 2.5 hours because it's a bigger one. This is an hour and a half in Lahaina and an hour and a half in Happy Valley as well, right? And in Hana, I think it's an hour and a half as well. So
It's an hour.
Hana's our smallest one. But yeah,
Interesting.
and we rush to set up. You should see us. It's down to a science. We know what to put out first and how to pick it up and how to put it back in the truck quickly. There's an order to it.
Gotcha. And I'll bet there's very little that you bring back.
Well, it depends on the time of the month. End of the month, very little. Beginning of the
okay.
middle of the month, usually, but we try to make sure there's enough just in case we got our max numbers.
Gotcha.
And then there's the times where we have our donors come in with a lot of food, and then there's not a lot of people to give it to, so we just roll it over to the next week. But
Yeah.
we do our best to make sure we manage the food well.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
On the produce side, any restrictions, rules? I mean, they obviously don't have to be grocery store perfect
No.
looking fruits and vegetables.
Just have to be edible.
edible.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If someone brings it in good faith that they would eat it themselves, then we can probably make use of it.
Gotcha.
A lot of
Interesting.
it we get from the stores is right at where they're getting ready to throw it away. So we do have some bad stuff that comes in. And so like if we get a case of apples from a store and there's two rotten ones in there, so we pick through. That's what these guys do. They pick through his stuff. They pick through and put them in barrels, and then the pig farmers and cow farmers and
Yeah, or
Chicken
we
farmers,
compost or whatever we can
yeah.
do with it.
Well,
yeah.
you feed everybody and everything.
Right.
Yep.
We try not to throw out anything. We
I
try
don't think
not
we've
to.
fed an actual sheep yet, but
Oh.
everything else.
Someday we will.
Gotcha.
And that does come from John 21. That's where the Feed My Sheep
Feed
comes
my
from.
sheep. Yeah. Gotcha.
Mm.
Interesting. Thoughts that you'd like to put out there for the folks that are listening? Oh boy.
I think Maui community is very supportive. I go a lot of places like the stores where we get our produce, our product from, and people like the idea. I think there is a lot of misconception about what kind of person is actually in need. I think the first thing I hear is, well, what about alcohol? What about drugs? And yeah, there is some of that. But we also care about them, and we want them to be supported through their addiction. Whether they realize they have an addiction or not, that's kind of another thing, and that's why we want to have a listening ear open for them, whether it's me or a volunteer. But I feel like the community gets it. We have people coming in who are vacationing and walk by, and they want to know what it is, and they drop a 20 or whatever in the bucket to help it along. And so there's all that support. I just would encourage people to realize that. I just ran into one of our friends, our clients, outside of the distribution, and she's like, I was glad to see you. She's like, see, we're normal people too. I'm like, well, yeah, me too. I mean, I'm normal too. We're all in this together. So she just wanted to have someone not see her as someone in need, but as someone that's just a part of her community.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. That's something I'm really proud of, is what he just said. If I go places and they're part of our friend base, I don't approach them. But I let them, if they look at me and smile, because I want to keep confidentiality for them.
Sure.
And then they usually come up and say, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're with for Future. Oh, Joyce, how are you? And, oh, there's my friend Joyce. And then they'll introduce us to their family and stuff. Sometimes they tell them how we know them, but sometimes they don't. And that to me is...
That's cool.
That's one of the
My
things
friend
I'm
Joyce.
most proud of, because there's no shame in coming, and we really work hard to
Right.
make sure they aren't feeling shame in
And
coming.
any one of us could be in that situation next week.
Yeah, well, my family grew up very poor, so I understand where it comes from. So,
And it could be temporary.
yeah,
Um,
and that's another saying we have: everybody needs help sometimes.
Right.
And I tell them, this is just your time.
Right. Interesting. And I would think that a lot of the folks do come back and play it forward, so to speak.
Yeah, they love to. We have a lot of our volunteers that they were receiving, and then they're like, well, here, do you need help today? And then they stop qualifying and stop needing, and then they just kept coming anyways.
Yeah. That's when it's really beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
To
That's,
see how much it was appreciated at the time of need. Cool.
Yep.
Well, good luck with finishing up your renovation of those buildings and getting everything moved over there. And gosh, I'm going to miss seeing you on the across from the post
that's
office.
the only thing, is we're going to lose that visibility we have right
Yeah.
there, right? So I'm not sure how I'm going to I'll figure.
Yeah.
I'll think of something.
Well, but at least you said it's not a place where people come to pick up food, so
Right.
it's not like they're losing their connection.
No, but it's nice that people see.
Yeah,
Then they go, what is that, right? And
Yeah.
then they become donors or volunteers or
that's
whatever.
true.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have some good signage there on the road.
I hope so. I hope that'll be allowed. I'm sure it will.
You mentioned the Friends of the Library. I noticed all the signs they've got up now to find their place.
right.
You know,
right.
before there used to be one little sign, and now there's one on
On
the
our fence and, yeah.
and on down the road, and big arrow pointing this way, and then once you even get into their driveway, I think there's 4 signs as you go down their driveway.
That says a lot about A&B and the support that they give the community. 'Cause
It
they're
is.
very supportive
Yeah,
to the community.
it's great. It's terrific. Well, thank you for joining us today and sharing your story with us and with all those folks out there. If any of them want to talk story with you or find out more about what you do or volunteer or whatever, can they call you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Scott.
They can call 808-872-9100.
I repeat, 808-872-9100.
And the website?
feedmysheepmaui.com. Don't forget the Maui part. feedmysheepmaui.com.
Because Feed My Sheep is a national something.
No, well,
I mean, you get something, but I don't know what
It's
they
popular.
do.
It's a popular name among church organizations.
Ah,
so-
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a biblical, you
Right.
know,
Right. Everybody can use it.
anybody, yeah,
Yeah. So feedmysheepmaui.com.
yeah.
Thanks, Joyce. Thanks, Scott.
Thank
you,
you.
And the
Susie.
best to you for all that you do, and we'll see you after you move into your new building. We'll see you again
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
find out how well it's going. This is when I wish we could take a camera crew out and
Yeah,
and
we
shoot
could
some
get a cock who
pictures
would
and-
come do it, maybe. Let's talk to Chivo.
hey, there you go. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Talk to Chivo. I'll bet he'd love to do that.
Have you do the interview and you. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Scott and Joyce. We appreciate it. Appreciate everything you do.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Aloha. And we're gonna jump into the second half of the show. And we're going to talk about another amazing program. If we talk about the Kane Connection, this is a program that's, what are you in? What year are you doing this now?
13.
13. Oh, lucky 13. We're talking with Kavika Matos, who is the what are you?
Program supervisor.
There you go, program supervisor. This is a program under the Maui Family Support Services umbrella. The Kane Connection is what?
Is a program that initially started out only for to serve as fathers. For the first 10 years, actually, we were called Fatherhood Involvement Team. And just based on the experience when I came on board 3 years ago of working in partnership with Aloha House Residential Treatment Center, under a grant, we were going up there and doing a men's group up there as well. And after the men left there, what I saw was a trend of a lot of men who were meeting women, moms, with children already, and then starting a relationship. So we assessed that and looked at that and approached our agency's leadership team and said, hey, I think we've got to change up a little bit, not only the name, but also to include all men, because these men who are getting involved with already made families, they need to be up on fathering skills and insight so that they can support the family, especially to support the kids, their stepchildren, as opposed to just walking in blind into the situation. So we changed the concept to serve all men with an emphasis on emphasis in fathering.
I see. Interesting. And makes all the sense in the world.
Doesn't it?
It really does, because sometimes you wonder, does he know what he's getting into?
Yeah, I mean, just without just based upon my own experience now with my age being a grandfather. I mean, most of us, we keep hearing this, and that parenting doesn't come with a manual, right? Well, we do have the manuals. Actually, we do have some great manuals in regards to that. But it takes practice. It takes time, maturity. All those things matter. So, it's really important that we support the family as a whole, and so it's my part to support the men, support the fathers.
Interesting. So now you have ongoing classes, and then you have a men's group or a support group or something. There's a couple different steps in this program.
Correct. The biggest thing we do, and it's not the most important, but the biggest thing we do is provide a men's group that's being currently held on Monday evenings from 6 to 8 at Halimakana Oaiale, the community center there. It's right near the shelter and the prison. And we hold our men's group there from 6 to 8 p.m. There is a sign currently right there on the corner fence inviting men to come, and it's open to all men. Most of the men who come to our group, this is volunteer, on a volunteer basis. As I shared earlier, we are very connected with, or in partnership with, Aloha House Residential Treatment Center, where I also happen to work part-time just to do their men's group up there of life skills and fathering skills. So they shuttle down a van load of guys while they're in treatment who now meet other men that perhaps have gone through that system, or other men that have joined us from the community, and they create this bond and this connection, so when they go on to an aftercare treatment, now they've got a support system going. So that's been a really, really positive thing. And then, of course, we worked with probation, the probation office, the parole office, with Maui Drug Court, all in collaboration to try and support this man through this process if there is an issue with incarceration or addiction.
I see. So is that like a separate group, or is that all one group?
No, they're all together.
All the guys.
Yeah, so we might have, on average, we average anywhere from 25 to 35 guys attending this on a volunteer basis. So it's pretty impressive by a couple of volunteers that have come by to share and or actually to witness what we're doing. They're really they're floored by what goes on in the dialogue, and it's all lesson driven. There's topics that we use. We use a curriculum called 24/7 Dad, which is part of the Fatherhood National Curriculum. The National Fatherhood Initiative is their curriculum with great topics that is both in fathering and just general life skills, and then we run from there, based upon what the men's needs are.
Interesting. So you're now this isn't something where it starts on a certain date and ends on a certain date. This is ongoing, so people come and go in the class.
Yeah, in the past, for many years, they used a 12-week cycle. And what I found when I came on board, and especially when I took over, is that sometimes the struggles that men have it takes longer to fix or need way more support than just a 12-week process. So we decided to open up the supports and call it a support group, in that some men come for short periods of time, and then they're always welcome to come back, especially as life goes on and maybe crises happen or just challenges or different things happen in their life. They were always welcome to come back. And then we've got some men who now have shifted to be mentors within our group system. They've come for a year, 2. I've even got one amazing mentor. His name is Sam, and he's been coming steadily for 3 years and supporting and helping.
Wow. That's interesting, and I guess I appreciate the fact that it's not a set time frame, because things don't happen in life in a set time frame.
Oh boy, correctly. Correct.
I mean, you can say, okay, here's the guidelines, here's the classes, here's what we're going to be studying tonight, but there's a relativity piece to all of these things. We're like, oh, well, no, the kids I'm working with, or kids in my household, are under the age of 4, so none of this pertains to us.
Yeah, there's always changes, right? Always changes happening within our lives. So having that support system, I think, ongoing it has been the biggest difference to what we're all about with Cunning Connections.
Yeah, that's great, because I could see where sometimes we get tired of the routine of going every Monday night to a meeting, or something changes at work. Maybe you have to work some Monday nights, and feel like you're out of the whole string of things, and then something happens, and you go, "Gosh, if I kept going to that class, I might have known how to handle this."
Correct. And hearing something today, a year from now, depending on where you're at in life, you could be hearing something totally different or absorbing something totally different.
True.
Along with feedback or sharing by the other men in the group. So that's an important point.
Right.
We should be always growing. We should be always changing, which is something that we always share with the men
Right.
to keep them moving, keep them growing.
Speaking of changing, we're going to do a change of pace and have a little commercial.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit agencies and find out what's going on in their world. And today, in the second half of the show, we're talking with Kavika Matos, who handles Kane Connections. For those of you who don't know what Kane is,
Men.
and I don't know where that came from that I threw that in, but I was listening to something the other day and they started speaking Hawaiian, and I'm going, I don't have the faintest idea what that is.
But isn't it beautiful?
It's
Just to listen
beautiful.
to it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But I was thinking, okay, now that you've done that, can you do it in English, which is not going to be cool? I mean, really, it's just explaining what it is. And I think, how many times have I said a word in Hawaiian and have people out there wondering, okay, what's she talking about?
Right.
And Kane, of course, is a pretty popular one. Most everybody knows, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the name of the program, which is Kamalama.
Correct.
What does that mean?
Kamalama means the light. We are currently doing a parenting group called Kamalama, Parenting Through Hawaiian Values, that's been on Maui for 10 years. I've got to recognize Venus Rossetti Maderas, who is now spearheading the Maui County region with Kamehameha Schools. And she wrote this curriculum and put this together with the help of many, many people that she accredits. And who helped her with this process, and she wrote this about 10 years ago while she was with Wailuku Neighborhood Place and Child and Family Services. So I feel blessed and fortunate that she asked me recently to get trained for this program to also provide this service to our families. So this is a group that we just started doing funded through the County of Maui. Tuesday evenings from 5:30 to 7:30.
And one of the requirements of this program is that you must have a child ages 0 to 5, a newborn through 5.
Correct. We often hear, as being part of a bigger agency, a lot of the men will say, oh, there's a lot of services for women, but not as much for men. So what the County of Maui, through the Early Head Start department, basically said is, okay, we'll dedicate this program in particular to fathers. So it's father focused, and a partner can come along with them. But because it's through Early Head Start, they want to make sure that we also focus on the early age groups of newborn to 5, and so they should have a child of that age, and then they can sign up for this program.
I see, and there's no charge for the program.
No, absolutely free. In fact, we provide dinner and childcare for them to take away those obstacles that may prevent families from participating.
Interesting, and this is every Tuesday night.
Correct.
From 5:30 to 7:30, and this is at your office.
Correct, on Maui Family Support Service on Willie Pa Loop in the Wailuku Mill Yard. Unlike the men's group held at Halemakana Monday evenings, this particular group is done in a cohort form. So we actually just started our first group last night. So these family members now, these parents will go through a 12-week process collectively together. They bond, they share. And then the next group will actually open up in about 4 months.
Gotcha. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's because of the curriculum and
Because of the curriculum.
The type of education that's going on in these. The thing I think that struck me on this is reminding people that parents are children's first teachers. We so often forget that what happens at home is so vital to a child's upbringing.
Yeah, something that I share with both the men and moms is that they are their child's greatest role model. I created this. I learned this. I think maybe was to Dr. Phil or something. So I've got to give him credit. But it is said that in general, the same-sex parent is the greatest role model for their children. And although there might be, so it's usually the boy looks up to his dad or father figure, and likewise girl, mom, the mother or mother figure. And sometimes you might have a daddy's girl or a mommy's boy, but in general, that's how that works. And since we started sharing that concept well over a year ago, the men, they do see how important it is for them to be positive role models for their sons, because if not, then they will repeat the same cycle often, right? So if you treat your wife with respect, then they will learn to treat girls at the younger age, and then the women in their lives with respect, and so forth.
Right. Now, do you find that you have a lot of guys who come to these classes who did not come from homes like that?
Yeah.
Have no idea what being a real dad is like.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, right, that society is changing so rapidly. And for me, there's a fear of the younger children being influenced by social media. It might be that the families are just busy and they're trying to be responsible. They're doing what looks like the right things, but maybe the time spent with the children, now that's the sacrifice. And so then the kids are being influenced by social media. If it's positive, great, and there's a lot of negativity out there, so we've got to be aware of that, and not use the cell phone or what have you, or social media to raise the kids. We've got to make sure that we spend our quality time with our kids, teaching them values and morals, as many of us in the older generation was raised.
Right. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said they did kind of a family self-assessment of their use of electronics. And they realized that they had gone from maybe giving the phone or iPad or whatever to the child as a reward when they did something good, or if they're in school when they got the right grades, to where it's like it's attached to them now. And so they've gone from a one-time thing as something special to just it's automatic. And they said at one point they tried to take it away because that was punishment now. And it's like you can't turn a positive into a negative,
right,
without repercussions.
It is a good tool to use, and parents need to be aware of that. But they've got to also take charge of that and monitor that and stay in control of that. I really believe that. But not the social media, but technology is an amazing thing today. We're in a time for kids to learn and have great opportunity with that. It's just that when we're as parents, we're not doing our part to monitor that, then it becomes an issue.
Right.
Because then their influences become strong through social media, especially.
And you'll hear the child say something, and where'd you get that?
Right. Yeah, kids are so amazing today, this day and age, right? How quick they learn. So, let's use it as a positive tool versus letting it raise our children.
Right. So, between these two programs, now, there's no age limits. I mean, the guys can be 18 or 58.
Yeah, or even younger, especially if they're already a soon-to-be dad or
gotcha.
dad, right? Because that could happen.
Okay.
But no age limit, and it's really not dedicated to biological fathers, it's in regards to the fathering, it's anybody that can role model either raising as a hanai or step, or even like grandparents raising their grandchildren, which is so prominent today.
Right. And we see a lot of influence from young guys who are uncles,
Correct.
and how sometimes the kids get really attached to, well, aunties too, but in this case we're talking about the uncles. And so do they know what kind of an influence they're really having on a child?
Yeah, you're right, Susie. With the men, we have a motto that we use, a group motto, which states, we believe men should be respectful, responsible, accountable, and honest, have integrity, be healthy partners, and be nurturing fathers and role models in our community. So at every meeting, we talk about how important it is for us to be aware and have self-discipline, whether it's walking into a store, watching the way we speak, because you never know who's standing behind you. That child that's looking up to you, they may admire you, and then may follow whatever behaviors you have. So it's just being accountable within our community, along with within each household.
That's true. What you say is very true. Sometimes we forget the kids are there.
Yeah, always watching. That's what we say. Kids are always watching. And I didn't share earlier when I talked about Connie Connections and our Monday night group that as a part of our program also, we also provide one-on-one supports to the men. So if there's a crisis going on in their family or with them, eventually when we rebuild our staff team again, we'll, as we've done in the past, we dedicate time each week to men, even on a one-on-one basis, to help them through whatever may be going on with them, or if they can't make the time frame of the group.
Ah, okay. So it's ongoing support.
Yes,
There when you need them.
correct.
There when they need you.
Yeah, and both, right? It's all about
Both.
relationships. I love
Right.
what Scott and your previous guest shared. I mean, that's the respect level to look at people in need. That they're just people, and it's maybe just where they're at this stage in their life, and you never know when somebody is about to make some great changes. So, just being an instrument for that, and feeling honored that you're in the right place, the right time, perhaps for that purpose. So
Right. And we're placed there. We don't know why.
that's true. Like you here.
Yeah. I don't know why. Why am I here? I'm still looking for the answer to that one.
Yeah.
But it's always great to talk with you, Kavika, about this program, because I know when I first heard about it, I thought, wow, and your comment about kids don't come with manuals,
Yeah.
no starter kits, no whatever, and a lot of times all we know is what we've learned through our families, our growing up time, and sometimes those aren't the best of times.
Yeah, a lot of what we were taught and what we still practice may be really great things, but we can always grow and learn and do things different too, so that our kids have a better or maybe different experience, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Celebration of Fathers.
So, yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah, pretty excited.
Oh, we almost
about
forgot
that.
about that.
So next week, Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
June 8th, at the Queen Kaumanu Center from 10 to 2, we'll be doing our having our 13th annual Celebration of Fathers event. It's going to be a great event that we'll have agency partners there to represent themselves and do activities with the kids and share about their services and what they do and their impact into the community. We'll have some entertainment, some great entertainment on stage, and then we'll also have not only the agency sharing what they do, but we'll have testimonies by a lot of the men who are a part of Connie Connections. And so that 2 or 3 years ago when we did that, when we were at the UH campus, I think it was the 10th or 11th annual, it was so impactful that we were asked to maybe bring the guys back on again, and so we're planning on doing that. And it's going to be a nice family event. It's not only for fathers, it's for any caregiver. Just come along and bring your children. Great prizes, great prize drawings with great items to give away. But more important, it's just the time spent together.
Wonderful. And again, that's totally free and sponsored by Maui Family Support Services.
Yes, correct.
Cool. Thank you so much. And Queen K has been the site of that for this is the second year now.
For most of the event, it was held there. Correct.
Okay.
We moved it to a couple of locations, different times. But we're back at Queen Kaumana Center, and thank them so much for their support, not only for this event but also the other, all the other events that they sponsor and provide for us there.
Kavika, thank you so much for being here and sharing this information with our listeners. And if you have any questions and you want to talk to him some more about it, we've got a phone number for you.
242-0900.
Or we can. Do you have a website that
We do.
points to Connie Connection?
Yes. So www.mfss.org.
Okay. And Connie Connections, we got a Monday night group and a Tuesday night group for you to take a look at. And I just can't say enough about what you guys do. I see the difference. I mean, I hear it from
Thank
people,
you.
and we've talked to you and others involved in the program over the last quite a few years. And watching this program grow and just, it's like there's sometimes we have this feeling that it's a one-time thing. We're going to try it and see what happens. Well, I think this is kind of like Feed My Sheep.
Yep.
Went from the trunk of the car to all these vans that are running around, and here you are with this program and lots of success stories, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us, too.
Hey, thank you, Kavika. We appreciate what you do. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Please give them a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Pacific Source has been our sponsor from day one, and we thank them so much for their ongoing support. And to you, our listeners, we thank you for the response our agencies get from you regarding the activities that we talk about on this program. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. If you see one there that you're interested in learning more about, go to their website and check them out. Today we visited with the Feed My Sheep and with the Celebration of Fathers, the Connie Connection, and talked about what their programs are. For more information on Connie Connection, call 242-0900. And for more information on Feed My Sheep, call 872-9100. We want to thank you all for joining us today. We, I don't know about you guys, but I had a great time learning about
sure did.
what everybody's doing and how everything is growing and working out so well. We hope you'll join us again next week right here, same time, same place on KAOI Radio, when we'll feature representatives of two other member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. I think I have extra time today. What happened?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, what can I go back and pick up? No, if I do that, I'll run out.
Take a nap.
Take a nap, okay. No, I may snore. I don't want to do that. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. Have a great week. Aloha.